Okay, welcome to day 2 of Q&A. This is part 3, and I have no intro, so this is question 1. Comes from Fallen Kings 666, who asks, do you think there's any hope for the superstars of smaller stature and Cruiserweight division, Kendrick and others like him, or do you think that they will bring back the Cruiserweight title? Great question, first of all. Okay, in many ways I hope they don't bring back the Cruiserweight title, because I always hated wrestling belts that are defined by weight. That's never sat well with me. I've never liked that. I just hate the implication that you guys are smaller guys, so you just fight each other. Don't fight the big boys. They'll kill you. I've just always found that totally ludicrous, particularly as, you know, these guys are so much better than these guys. And in fact, the commentators in various wrestling promotions acknowledge how much better the cruiserweights are than the heavyweights. For example, in TNA, the X Division. The X Division match is generally the first match of the night, designed to get the crowd going, but it's always the best match of the night. And Don West and Mike Tenay always call it as the best match of the night. You know, they're always like, these guys are so talented, blah 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 blah. Get to the World Heavyweight title match, and it's crap. And everyone knows it's crap. And no one's even pretending it's anything else. Same with WCW. The World Heavyweight title match was always crap, but they were always raving about how good their cruiserweights, how they had the best wrestlers in the world here. If they are the best wrestlers in the world, then they should be pushed as the best wrestlers in the world. Same as if Vince McMahon wants to get rid of the cruiserweight title, then he should push the cruiserweights like heavyweights. You know, he should put them in mid-card title feuds. He should put them in world title feuds. But he doesn't do that. It's very, very frustrating. Obviously, cruiserweights should be booked differently when they're booked as heavyweights. You know, they should be playing the underdog a lot. They should be doing what Rey Mysterio does quite a lot. But they should get to win. You know, they should get to win titles. But no, my answer to your question is there is no hope for these cruiserweights. I think that was pretty much shown by the guy you mentioned in the question, Brian Kendrick, getting defeated by Santino Marella on Superstars. What a ludicrous decision that is. Right. Santino Marella is a comedy character. Santino Marella does not need victories. It makes no difference to his character if he has victories or not. Right. He is just a joke. He is not a wrestler anymore. Irrelevant. The Brian Kendrick, ultra talented, needs victories to be credible. But no, they put Santino over Kendrick. That shows you what they think of cruiserweight wrestlers. They think of them as jobbers. That's it. It's Vince McMahon's typical 80s booking where the bigger man in the fight always wins, regardless of how talented the smaller guy is. Vince McMahon thinks it would cheapen his world title belt if they put it around someone who weighs 200 pounds or less, or even someone who weighs like 210, 220 pounds like Christian. He thinks people would see that as implausible. However, he seems to believe people regard it as plausible that someone like Batista, someone who is totally talentless, you know, absolutely atrocious in the ring, he seems to think it's believable that he would be regarded as the best wrestler in the world simply because he has muscles. How ridiculous is that? And it's sending out such bad messages. You know, you have to have muscles to become a wrestler. You know, that's why people do steroids. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. But no, there is no hope for the cruiserweights. I believe I just answered your question. There is no hope for the cruiserweights, but they shouldn't bring back the cruiserweight title. Obviously, as there is no hope for the cruiserweights as heavyweights, they should bring back the cruiserweight title. I just wish Vince McMahon and the WWE bookers would change their policy on this and actually push cruiserweights properly. And I know a lot of people will refute this argument and say, well, hey, Rey Mysterio won the world title. Rey Mysterio is one of the most gifted wrestlers ever to wrestle on American TV, and he has won one world championship. Okay? That shows you what they think of cruiserweights. One. And I don't think anyone under 200 pounds will ever wear that belt again. But yeah, that's my answer to that. Okay, next question comes from TreasureFan02, who asks, what's your choice on the top accomplishment that has been achieved thus far in wrestling For example, Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. Interesting question. I actually don't know how to answer, really. I read this one and I was like, I'm not really sure. But I've come up with an answer, and I hope this is suitable. Is having good matches an accomplishment in wrestling these days? It probably is, because barely anyone is able to do it. So my choice for top accomplishment would be Shawn Michaels for having a portfolio of really, really good, really critically acclaimed wrestling matches over the years in a company which has historically not put on that many great wrestling matches. So yeah, what I'm really talking about here is the fact that Shawn Michaels won the PWI award for Best Match of the Year 5 years running, and let's face it, it's going to be 6, because nothing's going to top Undertaker Michaels at WrestleMania. He's also won Wrestling Observer Newsletter Match of the Year twice. He's also got 2 5-star matches from Dave Meltzer, which is very hard to do if you wrestle in WWF / WWE. So yeah, it would be Shawn Michaels would be the greatest accomplishment that has been achieved thus far in wrestling, for having a portfolio of great and critically acclaimed wrestling matches. Hope that answers your question. Hope that's suitable. Next question comes from Super Happy Fun Slide 2, who asks, do you ever think TNA will be on the same overall level as WWE after some years when they can produce more TV shows, tape each Impact in a different state instead of the Impact Zone, and stuff like merchandise, etc.? Possibly. I really, I have absolutely no clue, to be honest, but I think they possibly can. They're either going to do that or they're going to go bust, basically. I'm not sure what their financial state is right now, but I'm not convinced it's in very good situation. If you ask me if they want to get onto the same level as WWE, they have to change the way they're booking things right now. They've taken on the WWE style of booking. They're doing a sort of sports entertainment style of booking, which basically just means they're doing all the same gimmicky shit as WWE, and in my view are at points taking it to a much worse and far more grotesque level. So if they want to succeed, they have to form their own identity, and they already did have their own identity. They just threw it away back in 2006 when everyone was talking about how TNA is the best wrestling company in the world. It was actually living up to its name. It was total non-stop action. There was lots of wrestling. There was lots of great wrestling. You had X Division matches in the main event, Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles, all that stuff. So if they can solidify their identity and their booking towards a company which does primarily very, very good mainstream wrestling, then I think they've got a chance of reaching WWE's level. But they've decided basically just to copy what WWE does, and I'm not sure they're ever going to get there doing that. I do also think that they've got to start taping Impact around the US and then possibly abroad as well, because I don't think it's good staying in the same place. It's not really spreading the word. But the answer is, maybe they will, maybe they won't. I hope they will, because competition is always a good thing in wrestling, so I really hope they do. Most people say the Monday Night Wars, where there was the greatest competition, is the best time in wrestling, so fair enough. Last question for this part comes from showstoppinlegendKLR, who's a very loyal subscriber of ours. He's managed to get us other subscribers as well, and he's been with us since WrestleMania, I believe. Anyway, he asked, how do you guys feel about the Raw guest host idea? Do you feel it would be alright if they stick to just present and past superstars? I don't know, maybe I could like this idea if it was on a well-booked show, but the way Raw is right now, it's just full of horrible gimmicks, and this is just another horrible gimmick put on top of it. And the Raw writers seem to have enough problems trying to write the show as it is, without giving them these problems of how will Ted DiBiase book this, how will Batista book this, all that stuff. So no, I really don't think it's a good idea at all, and I'd really hate it if it were celebrities started getting involved. But as it is with wrestlers, I don't really want to see any present wrestlers, except perhaps like Chris Jericho getting his own back on Raw. I think that would work. But past wrestlers, maybe. Yeah, I could kind of get into that. Particularly Ted DiBiase, someone like that, who's just a great, charismatic, brilliant on the mic, great personality. So yeah, that's my answer to that.